Okay, let's get started. It's 2 o'clock, right? Okay, great, perfect. Okay, hi everyone, welcome. Really appreciate you taking the time out to have a look at our webinar today. And the webinar is in regards to handling SAP changes in transports during your S4 transformation. Today's agenda will tell you a little bit about who Realtek is, and then talk about quickly digital transformation scenarios. And I'm sure you've heard these 1,000 times, so I'll go quickly through those. And then what we have found from an automation company or a company like Realtek who has a automation tool, the challenges that come with doing an SAP change management project for when you're doing a digital transformation. So then we'll talk a little bit about best practices, and then I'm going to show you what we have to offer. So let's just get started. So who is Realtek, right? We've been a change in transport automation company, as well as migration experts for over 25 years, right? So founded in 1994 over in Waldorf, Germany, right around the block from SAP. And then we opened up some subsidiaries globally. But today I'm based out of Gloucester City, New Jersey, right across the bridge from Philadelphia. And we're a channel partner reseller for the Realtek software solutions that are based out of not Waldorf now, but Lyman, Germany, which is right next to Waldorf. So, been a partner with SAP for over 25 years. That's all we really focus on. Still have offices in Germany, New Zealand, and Japan. My name is David Milano. I am the CEO here in North America. In 2017, I did a management buyout from Realtek AG. So, but started here at Realtek in 2007 as a software consultant, specifically focused on the smart change piece that we're going to talk about today. So, 2,000 worldwide customers, consultants all over the place, and trusted partnership with SAP. Our software is certified for S/4HANA today. So, we've done that. It's been about 1.5 years now. So we have customers running our solution on S4, as well as integrated with Jira and ServiceNow, and I can talk a little bit about that during the demo. So digital transformation options, there's the greenfield, there's a system conversion, there's landscape transformations. I think there's also a selective data transfer now as another option for migrating your ECC system over to S4. Realtek as a company just finished a brownfield migration with a large utilities company out in Phoenix back in December. So very familiar with moving customers from ECC to S4, along with using our software to help with the project, right? So to basically manage your transports during your 5-box model, also doing synchronizations or retrofits between your ECC landscape, your S4 landscape, to get those objects retrofitted. So this is just 3 options. I know the selective data transfer is another option a lot of customers are choosing to use. What we've seen, especially with the last project, is some of the challenges or key decision points to consider, even before you start your S4 project, right? So what is our game plan for the overall change processes, right? How are we going to manage our existing projects or our in-flight projects, during this project? How will this change after we move to S4, right? Depending on how you decide to do your transformation, you'll have multiple freeze periods during the go lives, that need to be considered. Do we have an approval process for those periods? Are we using emails and spreadsheets today, and is it just too much, right? I've seen where multiple SIs are telling basis to put transports into the system, after the system copy, after the migration and something gets messed up, basically transports weren't supposed to go in until a later point or an earlier point, and then next thing you know, that whole mock migration is useless. You have to start all over, right? So that's not something, if you can avoid that by, proper preparation and planning, it saves a lot of time in your project, right? How are you going to account for the dual landscape maintenance? You have to build another landscape. So you have to manage those transports that are going there, the changes that are going there. You have to do retrofits. How are you going to do that, right? Is it manual, or is developers going to do it, once on ECC and then go over to the other systems and copy the code over? How are we going to remain, how are we going to ensure, and this is a big one, that we remain compliant with our audit purposes, right, during the project? At the end of the day, things are going to be moving around at light speed during these projects, right? So, you have a timeline, you have deadlines that need to be met, dates that need to be met, and, how are we going to remain compliant, knowing that we're putting these transports into these systems, who's keeping track of it, how are we going to do it, what happens to the spreadsheet if someone forgets something, things like that. So, and then also, what third-party solution or tools are available to us, right? What's out there, right? And that's what I think I'm going to show you today. One of the Smart Change solution, which is a trusted tool, rock solid, helps you move transports. I like to say AAA approach: automation, approvals, and auditing, all in one tool. So you don't have to worry about, some of these bullet points. So here's just an example. This was an energy company, and they wanted to, they were building that secondary landscape for S4, and how are they going to manage it, right? Well, with Smart Change, there's a couple different modules. There's the transport management module, that's automation, approvals, and auditing. And then there's synchronization management, which is really an object level comparison tool. And that object level comparison tool will look at what has been released, let's say, from your ECC environment, and compare what's active on your S4 environment, or your, let's say, D2 environment, right? I have sandboxes over here because maybe, you start with a sandbox as a copy of production, you do your migration there first, then you move to dev, then you move to QA, then you move to prod. But basically, you're able to send transports through all these systems. It's very flexible, right? We don't rip out or replace anything you have today. We have our own architecture, which is RFCs and a user, and we really use TP and R3 trans to do the imports. So we don't mess with your STMS routes. We're a bolt-on inside of SAP. And Smart Change can handle, this ECC to S4 environment, and basically make sure that you're managing not only the in-flight projects you already have, but also these new transports or changes that are coming into your system during the project. So, how does Smart Change help, right? So with new implementations, if you're using Solution Manager, I know a lot of customers for an S4 project, go ahead and use Solution Manager maybe for test management, or, custom code management, or, just for the project. This is where we would house our controller for Smart Change. Again, we don't rip out or replace, we're just a bolt-on. And then it has RFCs out to all the systems. So anybody who approves transports, any emails that get sent from our tool, the dashboard, everything is built on one system. It doesn't have to be Solution Manager, it could be a dev system. Our only requirement is NetWeaver 7.31 and above. So here you can build your workflows, have the imports happen, build your approval steps, but everything would happen within the dashboard on that system. So, and here on the development box, these are, let's say, projects and destinations that would pop up. So when you release from your development system, you're able to see these project destinations and essentially send it on its path, right? But it also inherits its approval steps. It also inherits any attributes, excuse me, any attributes that come along with that transport along the way, and then follows the imports into quality and production only after the approvals are done. So this is more of a landscape transformation. Maybe you have ECC in multiple environments, you have multiple landscapes, they're all connected to solution manager, and same situation, right? You can set up the approvals and all the workflows so that you're managing everything. And basically emails go to the people at the right time, right? So when they have to approve in the quality, if there's an approval step, it doesn't have to be, but if there is, we would send them an email at the right time. But when it goes to that production system, you know, to ensure that maybe the functional team lead approves, but then the basis or the cab team or whoever's responsible for get that final approval, it happens, right, before it goes to production. Then there's some automated jobs on the back end that run and perform the imports into the systems. And it's super flexible, right? So you can do it any way you want. If you have 15 minutes in the quality, once a week in the production, or, you know, 5 minutes in the quality, and then every 2 weeks or once a month in the production, you set it and you forget it, right? So that's the cool part, right? From a basis standpoint, we literally take you out of doing this type of work, right? You've focused on more making sure the database is up and running, indexes aren't getting full, you know, really optimizing the SAP system. You're not worried about doing this type of work anymore. It really rolls the onus out to the people who do this type of work, right? The developers, the approvers, you know, the people who really, I hate to say care about it, but they're making sure they're doing the change. It's going in quality. They got to test it. They have to approve it to go to production, things like that. So the only time basis would get involved is when there's a technical issue within the system. So here's some other features within our solution. So it is modular based, right? Our most, let's say, our most successful, or the one that customers use the most, is this transport management module. And then I would say synchronization management. And we do have a change management piece. What I'm seeing here is a lot of customers are implementing the Jira and the ServiceNow, and then taking this module and doing integration to that, which I'll show you. It's super slick and really cool. But on transport management, which we'll focus on today, there's proactive technical checks, so you can avoid collisions, overtakers, has dependency checking, critical object checking, return code forecasting. Any transports that are managed via CTS Plus, we can also handle within our solution. So we don't just manage the ABAP side. If CTS Plus, SAP supports CTS Plus for those non-ABAP types, we also do, right? So, excuse me. And then we meet all the audit requirements, right? SOX, FDA, all the we have FDA regulated companies using our software, all different types of industries, right? So we're not industry specific. We're really a technical tool at that technical level of SAP. So on the synchronization management, this is the retrofitting piece, really. So we support customizing and workbench objects. That's big for doing retrofits. And then we integrate into transport management. So you can click on the transport, hit a button, it'll take you into synchronization management and tell you if those D1 and D2 objects are synchronized, or if they're equal, or if they're not. And you really can wrap a process around that. So what is transport management, right? Centralized, I put centralized in Solution Manager, but it could be centralized in any system 7.3, 1 or above, NetWeaver, right? And then security is single authorization object, independent of any SAP system or release. Literally, we have 4 OB customers running our software, right? And saying that we have S4 customers and everything in the middle, right? Doesn't matter what flavor of SAP you have, it's really the NetWeaver release. Flexible approval workflows, out of the box reporting, easily installed and configured. We can have one landscape up and running in a week, right? That's how easy it is. We put transports in, create the RFC, create the user via script, and then configure what we call projects and destinations, and you're using our tool. So it's not weeks or months to get to use our solution. It's literally days, right? It's really easy, simple to use. A lot of our customers give us the feedback it looks like SAP. So it's got a dashboard, it's got transports, and I'll show you that during the demo. Some features: packages or bundling, return code forecasting, cross-system object locking. Won't go through all these, but attributes. So you can have text or you can have links to outside applications, maybe your testing application, or well, I'll show you Jira or ServiceNow to really attach a transport to a change request. And then attachments. If you don't have a tool that you want to house your testing documents, you actually can put them right inside of our solution, right? So tracking information down to the object level. So all these are additional features. I'll try to run through them in our demo. Centralized access for all transport activity, proactive collision detection, critical objects, automatic imports, event-driven emails, complete history for audited reporting, right? So some of the best practices that we see, from our projects, right? Planning is key, right? Try to automate this as much as possible, right? You don't want to be doing spreadsheets and emails and going back and forth and things getting lost. We just seen it in our last project. It didn't go well. That's why they implemented our software. Consider the process you have today. Will there be more management needed during your project? Consider your retrofit processes, right? Are you going to move objects between these development systems? Obviously, with a greenfield, you don't do that, right? You're starting from scratch. But a brownfield system transformation, you're taking everything over, right? From one system to another, and then when you're adapting your custom code, you're going to have to move that code from your ECC to your S4, right? After the migration. So you are going to have to move objects from one system to another. How are you going to do that? So a dual maintenance landscape is coming. You should consider a solution that lowers your risk, proactive technical checks before the transport gets imported into the system. So when I added this, it's because our proactive checks happen on the approval process. So it's not after the transport gets imported, you're notified, and then you have to do rework. It's actually on the approval step, you'll get a pop-up box that says collision, overtaker detection, critical object detection, things like that, right? So implement a one-stop shop for compliance and auditing. Your auditors will thank you, right? This is our solution, right? With SAP's clean core concept, you'll have more interfacing to your S/4HANA system, and we'll need a tool to manage these interfaces, right? So we're really talking about transport management today, which is against this clean core concept. Everybody has changes, right? Even in these S4 projects I've seen, after they go live, they still have transports that have to be done in your system. But Realtek has a solution for interface management as well. So we can go out, recognize how many interfaces are out there. We could also, if there's an interface that's down, we can trigger alerts, things like that. So the Smart Change Suite has a bunch of different modules, and Realtek has been building software, rock solid software, for over 25 years that can help, not just the Smart Change. So what do we bring, right? We bring, when we implement our software, we bring instant value while increasing automation. Complete transparency and visibility, reduce risk, proactive technical checks and balances, using tools instead of manual stuff, right? Reducing costs and overhead, streamlined CAB meetings. Literally everybody can bring their laptop into the CAB meeting, talk about a transport or a change and then approve it, and then they're out the door. So it saves time, makes it super simple, and you're actually inside of SAP making these approvals. Complete auditing decreases the amount of changes moving to production. So we also support transport of copies. So you can do transport of copies between dev and quality until you finally are ready to release that one transport to production. Totally support that functionality. So with that, I'm going to just go and show sort of a brief end-to-end demonstration. So my environment, my controller is EDV, and that is my development system as well. So I have both everything on this EDV system, then it goes to EQA and EDT as production. So I'm going to go ahead and create a transport. Once I create a transport, I'm just saying that, webinar demo, I'm not assigning any objects to it. Doesn't really matter. We manage transports, if it doesn't have in this demo, I'm not putting any objects. So I release the task, and then I go ahead and release the request. Once I release the request, this is something we did for another client. So it's a customization, but basically you're able to have a pop-up box and fill out whatever information you want that's important to you, right? Maybe you had a ServiceNow ticket number or a link or a Jira link or ServiceNow or ticket or a link. You can go ahead and say what type of transport this is. Maybe it's a incident or change, and you can put the number in, put the subtype. Maybe this is in regards to, let's just pick a performance issue. Now I say, okay, now this is the standard, we call it transport management body, right? In this body, it comes up with projects and destinations, right? Or projects and destinations, right? The project is equal to, let's say, the type of transport it is, right? So I have a basis project, I have commercial project, finance project, and security, right? All these 4 projects have different types of approvers, right? Maybe finance is the finance manager, commercial manager, basis manager, security manager, things like that, right? But freely flexible, right? So you're able to go in and freely name these the way you want, but also configure these projects the way you want. So I'm going to go ahead and release the transport into the basis project. To do that, all I need to do is hit add to TM, say yes, and then standard SAP takes over and releases it into our solution, into our dashboard. Right. So with Realtek, we only have one transaction, which is /n/RTC/TM. It'll bring you right into our dashboard or our main screen. And in the main screen, you have waiting for approvals button, meaning you're an approver, monitor where you see all transports, and then history, which is archiving, meaning they made it through quality, they made it through production, and now they're in the history section. In this example, I'll go into the monitor. Here, my transport has already been imported into the EQA system, and this is sending me an email letting me know. So I didn't do any approvals to get into quality. So it goes right on release into the current status, and then it waits to be imported into the system. So you'll see some statuses on the side, and they all have the same, right? So in this example, these are called transport levels. It's how we would group systems, right? So if you had, 3 landscapes connected to TM, all your quality systems will be under the quality level. All your production systems will be under the production level. But in saying that, they all have their own system queues, they have their own approval steps, things like that, right? So they have to go to signature first, which means they're waiting for an approval. Current means all approvals are done, and it's going to be imported into the system. So that one I just did got imported pretty quick, but if I double click on it, I can go and see the import information, see it went in at this date and time, return code, all that good stuff, right? If there was any approvals that were needed, here you can see in quality, the system, meaning our tool, did the approvals to get into quality. But now to go into production, this one needs a ton of approvals, right? Needs a finance team lead, it needs a basis team lead for content approval. But then when it gets to technical, it needs 3 more approvals. So just showing this as an example, obviously a lot of customers don't have 5 approvals to get into production, but you know, we're flexible, you can do it, right? So let's say this gets, what happens next is it automatically moves down after import down to the production level, and it'll sit in this queue status. What this status is, it just means that it's not quite ready for its final approvals yet. It's being tested in the quality system. So the developer can come in and actually, or whoever is testing it, the tester can come in and either attach some kind of document. Maybe they want to attach their testing document to this and say, okay, it's done, everything was good. I want to now move it from queue to signature. And to do that, you just do what we call a status change. Move it from queue to signature, and that triggers an email to the first approver. In that case, it was the finance team, that it's their turn to approve the transport, right? So to approve it, there's a couple different ways, right? You can approve it directly in SAP, but one thing I wanted to show is we have this mobile app where you actually can go in and approve transports through this app as well. And it's super simple, right? So it's not only going into SAP, there's an app that you could use to approve transports as well, right? Either on your desktop or on your phone to make those approvals. So so let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and approve it. So you'll see down here, my name gets filled out. Obviously, I'm an admin. This is a demo. I can do all approvals, but we have segregation of duties as well as a security authorization object that you can create a couple roles, and those people are only able to do what you want it to do within the tool. So I'll go ahead and make all these approvals. Once I do that, I'll show you how to import it into production manually. There is you saw the job run in quality, it would do the same in production. But a lot of our customers, what they do is they roll out the tool and then they say, it's dropped down to current now. They say, all right, for the first month or 2, we really want our basis team to understand this solution. So they're going to actually go ahead and pump it into production, you know, manually. Oops, choose the wrong one. There it is, BDT, there it is. Okay, so here I don't have the transport. The job, automated job, does what we call generates the queue, which is I'm doing it manually, which adds it to the system queue, and then you're able to just push the transport into the system. So here it's being imported into production. It sends an email. Let's go look at that email. So in the email itself, and this can be customized to include anything you want, but the most important thing is the return code, everything's okay, and of course the date and time it went into the system. All right, so we send automated emails at the right time on the approval steps, but also after a transport gets imported into the system to the right people. So that is sort of just a quick and dirty, right? You know, release goes into quality, comes down, it's being tested, gets its final approvals, then moves to the production system. One thing I want to show is sort of, let's say you had a technical issue, right? So we have 2 transports here. I'm going to approve in the wrong order. When I go ahead and make that approval in the wrong order, this is our proactive technical check, right? This is saying there's a collision or an overtaker situation. Basically, these transports have either partial object or full object. In this case, it's the function group. And this is already out there. This was released first, and I'm approving the one that got released second, essentially version 2, right? The main thing to do is go ahead and take note, either contact that developer if you're an approver, or go ahead and just approve the transports in the right order. And then when they go into the system queue, they'll be going into the production system as version 1, then version 2 in the correct way. I'll show you that. So here, when I generate the queue, it's going to put in 135 first, then 137. So a lot of other different, lot of proactive technical checks that happen. This has got a gray diamond, meaning it's waiting for the job to run to push it into the system. But if I double click on the request, I can get more information about it. And here I get another tab, right? It says collisions, and it'll tell me the transports that are out there that have the same objects, things like that. And you can go and actually look. So this is another feature, return code forecasting, where you're able to look at a transport and say, does it have all the dependent objects that it needs? And here I have a dependency error with this one on this report source. And now I'm looking, and this says if this goes into the system, it's going to fail, right? It's going to have an error. Where's the object I need, right? Well, the object I need is in this 167, right? And there's actually the same object in a modifiable request. So this is very technical. I'm just saying you can get very technical with our tool, and it's very easy to drill down and see, you know, if there's something missing in a request to make that request successful in the target quality or target production system. So that's sort of a quick and dirty on, you know, end to end, as well as sort of some of the features within our tool. What I'd like to show you is our Jira integration and how that works, right? So I have I'll start from scratch. I have Jira, and then I have a request out here. That's my request. And then we have on the Atlassian site, we have a Smart Change Transport Management Jira app, right? So you would get the app, we would do the integration with our integration framework, and then you're able to actually create requests from Jira. It's connecting to SAP. It's going to add another, it's probably making me log in here because I haven't used it. Oh, nope, it's good. It checked my login, I'm good. And it creates a transport. Great. So it created a transport. It's refreshing. Right. So now if I go over to the SAP side and I look, I can see there's requests that I have out here that are tied to a certain Jira app, right? Which is this one I just created. And then those attributes are out here as that Jira ticket. So you can use Jira to create requests. You can use Jira to actually approve requests inside of our Smart Change tool. So I'll go ahead and hit this. It's making the approval. Takes a second. So we're in Germany. I'll show you some of these other ones once, okay. So you can see I just approved it and put my name in here. Some of these requests actually, so you can click on one. These are finished already. You can get the information about the transport. You can actually see who approved it. And then you can go in and see the quality or production, date and time, and actually the import time right in Jira, right? And we have this for ServiceNow too. So you're able to create the change. You're able to approve the change. It actually, the only thing you cannot do is release it, right? So you say, let's say I created the transport. Now I'm going to go ahead and release it. Once I release into a project destination combination and add the TM. So do you want to add? I say yes. And then the automation takes place, right? So now I released, SAP standard SAP takes over. Let's go back. I don't know if they fixed this. Let's see. Yep. Okay, good. So now I'm in a different, let's say, controller. I go into my dashboard. They didn't fix it. So basically what happens is, and you've already seen the dashboard on the other controller, but if I go back to Jira here and I look, let's go back out. Inside of Jira, you'll have this little section for Smart Change. And then let's go here. Bear with me one sec. But so the way we've done this integration is within our solution. I'll show you that. Within our solution, we have this integration framework that comes when we install the tool. And within that integration framework, you're able to set up your workflow steps, your IT system configuration, right? And sort of, it's an RFC between SAP and Jira or Polarian or Solution Manager or Jira, whichever, right? You set up that information here, create an RFC, and then download our app from Atlassian, and you're able to go in and get that information or integrate the tools. Let's go here. Okay, so this one here is the one I did. It actually already got imported into quality. The system made both approvals, and it just got imported into the system. This is German time, right? So 6 hours ahead is 8:35, right? Yeah. So so now what happens is in the dashboard, it would move to production. It would wait for the technical approvals, and then it could be imported into the system. So so with this, you really can control all the changes on the transports from your top level application, and use Smart Change as a technical tool that just sits inside of SAP. You can also approve these transports via the mobile app. So let's say I want to approve this one, it's approving it. It's checking for any technical, collisions, overtakers, things like that. Here it's telling me, oh, there's a critical object. Oh, I have a collision on this one. Maybe I don't want to approve this one. In this case, I have the right authorizations. Now it's actually not even letting me because there's a collision. So let's go back. Let's look at, maybe mine is the one I just did is out here. Slow in Germany today. Let's see. Okay. Let's try another one that doesn't have any issues. These are all Maria's. This is France. All right, let's try it. This is a package. Let's do this one. Okay, I'll approve this one. Drag over to the right. Just checking the technical aspects. Okay, this is good, right? This is telling me that there is a dependency. I can go in and look and say, oh, there's another transport out there, but I'm able to go ahead and make the approval. Okay, success, it's been approved. So that means that it approved it inside of our dashboard, and then we'll move it into the production system because it was a technical approval. So with that, that's sort of our demo. What I'll do is a couple more slides, and then I'd be happy to answer any questions or show you anything else within the tool. So bear with me one second. Give me 1 second. I just want to start now. Okay, so basically, what's your advantages, right? Why would you implement sort of a tool like ours? And the reason is because it saves you time, it saves you costs, and it eliminates risks, right? Makes you more efficient, safety and quality in your systems with the proactive technical checks, and transparency and traceability, right? You know about everything that's happening within your SAP landscape with our solution. Because we're tracking from the beginning of a creation of an object all the way through to quality, all the way through to production. So what types of roles does it help, right? In our case, it helps us a lot of roles, right? Development leads, change manager, CIOs, administrators, basis team, auditors, specifically auditors, quality managers, development managers, the functional teams, you know, the people who are in charge of keeping their system stable. We help all these different users, right? This is a success story we have over in Germany, right? They basically implemented our software because they were using emails and Excel spreadsheets, right? So instead of doing that, they could build all that manual effort inside of a tool and eliminate their paperwork. Microsoft, using it for 79 systems, right? Over five years using our solution. It's been a while I did the implementation, but they're a very happy customer. We manage all their SAP change and transport movement, you know, through all their SAP landscape. So very happy customer, been using our software for a long time. This was my very first project back in 2007. So they say they did a Six Sigma project, and they saved 3.2 days on the cycle time of each transport, or 2,200 man hours, or 112,000 a year. When I went to this customer, they had bins outside of their cubicles where they were moving paperwork to a manager, having them sign it, putting it in the bin so basis could do the imports. And once we implemented the tool, they've been using our tool ever since. So, and it's not Hollister, the clothing brand, it's the medical device company. Some of our happy customers, right? A lot of chemical companies, doesn't matter. We have financial companies. We just added a life insurance company. We have a sugar company in Tate Lyle. You know, we small, medium, or large, we can help you with our solution. There is some YouTubes out there where you can see our integration a little more, especially on our Realtek Inc. site. If you want to learn more about it, you can go there. I'd be happy to do a personal demo for you to a bigger audience at your company to show our value. Proof of concepts we do with customers all the time, so we can install the software for 30 days, have you try it, see if it's good, if it's a fit for your company, and it will solve your issues that you're seeing today. And that's it. I'd be happy to answer any questions or show you anything else you would like to see today. Anything in the chat? Nope. Okay. But please let me know. I'll be sending out the slides to everybody who registered, as well as a personalized email. Hopefully we can have a quick talk about how we can help your company automate change in transport management. And I really appreciate your time today. Feel free just to unmute your phone and ask any questions you may have. Okay, with that, thank you so much. If you see my email, I'd appreciate if we could have a couple minutes just to chat And thank you very much. You guys have a great rest of your day and appreciate you taking the time to learn about Real Tech today. Thank you.